Hey everyone, rather Incoherent here, back with part 4 of the Julii Campaign. We would be on turn 14, but I've wound back the clock a turn. Because it turns out that if I abandon these forts for a turn, they do fall apart. It's going to be on my next turn. It's only that I see empty forts because the AI's turn hasn't come around a second time. And I really don't want to lose these forts for no reason. So I'm going to replay this turn with the knowledge I've gained, including that Sparta is an incredibly unhappy society. So the first change is that when we assault Sparta, well, I'm going to be auto-resolving it because I don't have time to fight the battle again, which is a substantially worse result than what I got. And I'm going to be exterminating this time. I'm going to consolidate my troops again. I'm going to take all the troops now that I can't retrain here and send them to siege Corinth, just like last time where I'll be building siege towers. And again, they're incredibly angry, but less angry. I'm building low tax rate, and I'm going to have a massively higher garrison because I retrain all of this. Right now I only get 20% of garrison. I'll get up to 60% once these have been retrained. Or rather, I'll get an additional 60% up to the maximum of 80% once I've summoned all of these units. In terms of building, I will repair the wall, and I will build a port. Actually, I'll probably get blockaded immediately, so no point building a port. I'll build a stable so that I can eventually retrain Equites here. And I can't afford to destroy this temple right now because it does have a culture penalty, but it also gives me plus 15 experience, and it will be giving me bonuses to experience on these troops I train. So there's very good reason to keep the Temple of Nike at least for a little while. Okay, and now this is the beginning of turn 14 with these forts still intact, and the correct decision to exterminate Sparta being made. I don't like reloading as much as I have in this campaign. It hasn't been that much, but it still feels illegitimate. But I'm just relearning a lot of Rome as I go. That's called experimenting and not save scumming.
Imperator.
I send this man up to make forts with this group of peasants. And I don't think I can because this guy is in the way. I think I can't build because I'm on top of an enemy. Well, not an enemy, but someone of another faction. I'm going to move my main stack, most of my main stack, east, but those Velites may as well be a garrison unit. I do not want them. These peasants are a garrison unit, just actually a garrison unit as opposed to a trash unit that I don't want. Send these Equites to catch up with the stack. On the previous version of this turn, not only did I have less money for not exterminating Sparta, but I also didn't realize that when you move your capital, corruption is based entirely on how far from the capital your cities are. So I made all of my cities spike in corruption and basically killed my income. It was just completely wrong to try to make Sparta my capital at this point in the game. Speaking of completely wrong, this is making 38 gold a turn. It seems pretty useless. I feel like I have to be using merchants poorly, because if this is what they're supposed to do, then they're not worth making. So the only battle we have to worry about this turn is the siege of Corinth. Let's make sure our infrastructure is handled and move our agents around, and then we'll get to that siege.
Sir, I shall speak.
I'm going to try to sell trade rights and map info to the Thracians for 1,000.
A most generous proposal.
And I think there's a Scythian city like right around here.
At once. I shall speak with
Yeah.
at once.
I'm going to make the same deal with them. And since I felt bad last time when I realized that was a generous offer, I'm going to try to get another 1,000 over tribute. Yeah, okay, so that's much
proposal.
better. No reason to just go around getting less money than I could. I have a spy somewhere who could be discovering cities. I don't really know what you're doing, but you are coming down.
Secrecy is a show.
On the infrastructure front, I want to maximize population growth at Batavium, so I'm building the population growth temple. There's nothing to do with Gesta, and it looks like everyone else is already building. You aren't yet. I'll build a temple of Jupiter and Carthage because they are so unhappy, and I'll do the same in Thapsus. And I'm currently building stables here. I'm going to go around and make sure every city has the highest tax rate I can manage, with the exception of Batavium, who I want to grow very quickly. Okay, yeah, my tax rates are as high as they go, which means the last thing to do on this turn is to conquer Corinth. So let's get these Balkan wars well underway. Is this their faction leader? That feels... Okay, so on the one hand they only have 2 units, but dear god are those good units. Let's go. This should be very easily doable. I'm just going to have way greater losses than I would like to take.
Omens are for the weak and silly. We are neither.
Those silly fools listening to omens. You know what? I should probably have just not even tried to siege this city and instead used auto-resolve. That almost certainly results in us getting a better result. So this battle is pretty straightforward. What I'm doing is just sending my Triarii, my smallest unit, to the walls, and then I'll be having him run around the entire fucking city to capture all the towers, so I can freely position the city. This is so slow and so tedious that I almost wish I had auto-resolved the battle, but since I forgot to auto-resolve versus stone walls, I have to do this, otherwise I have to walk in a straight line, because stone walls can fire inwards and would kill all my units as I reposition. It's been a boring few minutes of marathon running, but finally, at long last, I have captured all 15 points on the map. Good job, Triarii. And now I am free to move about the city with impunity. Let's start by splitting my cavalry to either corner and piling my infantry in the middle. Now looking at this, you can approach the middle of the city from any direction, but I do want to put my archers right here. I want to see if they're able to fire in a straight line through this greenery, so I need to get them moving in this direction. I'm also going to start moving my cavalry out on these flanks. And 4 units of Hastati is pointless. They're not going to be able to move freely. So I'm going to start moving one around to the complete opposite side of the map. Okay, we're finally getting to the point where we might actually be able to do something. My cavalry are lined up on either side, my Hastati on the perpendicular axis, and my archers are right here. So let's set everyone to fire at will. And see how that actually goes. Because if anyone will push out, I can easily pin them. The question is who goes where. Oh, everyone's leaving. That's very unexpected. I don't want my archers to be shooting here. I don't want them to be shooting where my general's cavalry is going. And I want these Hastati to charge the hoplites. I do not want to let them join the cavalry battle. And at this point, I'm going to turn off fire while the archers and have them just stop as my Hastati are closing in. We seem to, like, just not be super interested in fighting the Hastati and stopping them.
The enemy king now shows his true colors.
Yeah, that was a close-up of something.
The enemy king
Okay.
has been slaughtered. Let us hope he does not
Look.
poison the carrion birds.
Horses, please leave. Just fully get out of the city, horses. Meanwhile, all of my Hastati can fight this one unit of phalanx. What is going on? It's, you know, it's just pathfinding. It's just units really struggling to get past each other and actually fulfill their commands. Meanwhile, this phalanx is still trying to not fight these two groups of Hastati. It's not even acknowledging the fact that they're, you know, in a fight. Unlike my units who know how the fight's going, these are just ready to fight, you know, at some point hypothetically in the future. What is this? I told you to leave! Oh my god, it's not my general? No, it's just a legionnaire next to a horse that I thought was someone on a horse. I'm having a really hard time getting these guys to actually engage. Can you please, like, move up? Okay, I had to do that thing where you just tell them to move up and trick them into fighting. And now we slog it out. Gonna lose quite a few Hastati because armored hoplites are kind of ridiculous, but nothing I can do about that. Not sending cavalry in there, that would be terrible. I suppose I could pull my hoplites back, but you know what? Let's actually try to play this like slightly less apathetically, slightly less the pathfinding is terrible. Everyone scatter, get off of them. And throw your javelins. Or whatever you just did instead. Jesus Christ. And apparently one of my cavalry got involved instead. Alright, that'll teach me for trying to, like, throw javelins at a city square instead of just accepting that pathfinding is trash and slogging it out. Alright, I guess I'll send in all my generals' cavalry since they won't leave, and apparently I need them to kill this anyway. Which, to my memory, just has a massive chance of them dying when they deal with hoplites, but my hastati were genuinely struggling with that. Oh, that was just deeply frustrating. Every time I play a siege, my heart sinks a little bit. There's so much strategy that should be there, and it just doesn't work with the pathfinding in cities.
Victory and glory!
And having learned my lesson with Sparta, I will be exterminating Corinth. Quite sad about that, but I just need to. And this gets me the statue of Zeus, which gives me, I believe, +4 population, +4 bonus population loyalty means plus 20% happiness, which is just massive. Makes building this empire much, much easier. The city doesn't have militia barracks, which feels pretty bad. It means that I will need to... You know, I probably should have brought these units with me, but oh well. It looks like they can make it here and push the Greeks. And they're not going yet. They need to wait for reinforcements. Here I can retrain my equites and even get a new unit of them. Here I can recruit a new unit of Principes. I'm going to send these broken units of Hastati back to be retrained. These guys are staying behind to get retrained. Everyone else can join the army. And now that I have the statue of Zeus over here, I'm probably able to increase taxes somewhere. I've just gone through all of my towns, and everyone is building something. Except for Corinth, who needs to get started. They haven't made any shrines yet, so I'm going to make the shrine to Jupiter for order and law. So all that's left in this turn is this war with the Greeks, and if it goes well, this war with Macedon. Okay, I went into this battle and then immediately reloaded because I was deeply confused. When I look at this, for some reason I looked at this deployment, and I was like, this is me, this is the enemy, this is the same, and I also said, this is me, this is the enemy, and didn't register this as reinforcements. So I just reloaded because the first time I looked at this, I completely failed to look at the enemy faction properly. So looking at this correctly this time around, the fight would have been fine the way I arranged my units. I just wanted to figure out how I was seeing the UI wrong. Is this reinforcement army literally peasants and... yeah, it's peasants and ranged units. Alright, my cavalry are going to go buck wild then. Let me look at this fight properly. Withdraw for a second. The northeast corner of the map is where they're going to come in from. Let's go. I could fight a night battle to try to fight only one at a time, but I don't think that's even a little bit necessary. These armies are incredibly low quality. I forgot to talk about the other army this time around. The other army is also terrible. It has 2 units of real hoplites, but the rest is like 2 units of peasants, 2 units of militia hoplites, and Numidian cavalry. So I want my cavalry all here, ready to charge the northeast corner. I want the Principes in the center of my line. Hastati to the right. Hastati to the left. Archers behind the Principes. I'm just going to move around as a unit for a little while, so I'm going to group it and lock it. I may as well keep the Triarii here, just to guard the archers and add them to the group. Start the battle, immediately run forward, immediately run forward. Where are their men at? This way. So these units I just want to form up on the hill here. And all of my cavalry I want to line up here, and then I'll issue a charge. They seem eager to meet me in the field, which is baffling. And since this one unit is so far out of the way, I'll just charge it ahead of everyone else. I should be able to completely wipe this out. Nice charge. This cavalry's really letting the rest of them down. Since this is all missile units, I'm gonna pull back now. I don't like getting fired on by these Cretan archers, but I don't really have a way of avoiding it either. Just gonna have that switch around a little bit. Pull back again. Don't want to get tangled up in the peasants while the peltasts throw shit at me. No, they've just completely ignored me. It's quite rude of them. And the peasants apparently have just continued to charge me. Actually, all of you deal with those archers. You distract the peasants so that the archers can get through, or the horses can get through to the archers. Now I'm going to pull him back since they've gotten everyone else through. Move this here. Yeah, I'm fine with letting this slog play out. It's archers versus 3 units of general's cavalry. Oh no, this is incorrect. I need the whole thing selected at once. Have them run into position uphill. I am shocked the Cretan archers haven't either died or routed yet. I'm also shocked at just how much they're staying ahead of me.
The enemy general is
Okay,
slain,
my horses
and
happened to
enemy's
fall in
men fear
front
us.
of me. I thought that was my general dying behind the horses. Okay, here. I want you all to stop where you are. I want you to turn full way. I want you to run here. I just want you to stop. I feel like there's someone the archer should be shooting at, but there doesn't really... I'm not really feeling any of it. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to line them up here and charge these missile cap that are the other enemy's general. Yeah, they saw what was happening there and said no immediately. Stop what you're doing, throw javelins to kill them. You 3 form a line here. Triarii, fill this gap. Alright, since they're not actually going to play badly enough to let me charge into them, I'll peel off and kill all of these peasants.
The gods be praised! The enemy's hearts are full of fear.
Now my
and now
archers
they
is focused
flee.
on killing this routing unit. My faction leader break off to avoid Chris because I have so many people in one big pile. And just have him start mopping up all of these fleeing units. Nope, nope, nope. Please stop. I did not pay attention to what they were doing, and they don't seem interested in listening to my commands. We will continue charging the phalanx then. Worked out predictably poorly. I just assumed since they were already being charged by the Hastati, they would have turned to face them, but silly me. These cavalry are just a massive pain in my ass, and I'm actually trying to move my archers to help deal with them. Is that really not a route yet? Hoplites have some fucking disgusting morale. You're the one that fled. Please actually attack them. What on earth is happening here? Like, this is the easiest charge in the world, and they're just sort of standing around.
Enemy general with fear. Now he flees the field like a coward.
Oh, this is so frustrating. I do not remember the pathfinding in Realm Control War being quite this bad. Oh, this has been a sincere exercise in frustration. It's just been genuinely awful. Alright, I think at this point that's going to keep routing until it's off the map. And that's just double speed it until we're done here.
The enemy army is in flight. Pursue them and drive them from the battlefield.
Oh man, hoplites have ridiculous morale, and also pathfinding is so much worse than I remember it being. Even outside of sieges.
Demands victory from her generals, and this day is clearly
So one of those armies is completely dead, the other escapes with 338. The one that escapes with 338 was the reinforcements, which were able to, like, relatively immediately leave the map because they started routing on the edge. So that's a thing I need to keep in mind. If I want to route reinforcements and run them down, I need to let them get into the middle of the map before I do it. Now, at a glance, Macedon and Athens might think they're safe, but of course, I'm not here to save them. I'm here because this is actually my siege, not theirs. Now, can I hire any mercenaries here? That would be greatly helpful to the war effort. In fact, I can get 2 sets of mercenary hoplites and peltasts, which I would love to do. Let's load that end turn save, since I am so bad at the game that I just hit end turn trying to find the confirm buy mercenaries button. Oh man, this is not an example of the UI being terrible. This is just an example of me having a hard time learning new UI that I'm not a big fan of. But, okay, so I've got a lot of mercenaries supporting this army. I'm retraining units in both of these and actually training genuine units. Athens under siege to go down next turn. Actually, I think I need to recruit the Equites. I would kind of like to have recruited a boat, though. Unfortunately, I'm going to be sending this boat all the way back to my starting ports to get retrained. I'm not going to be trying to send it over here, because between Greek and Rebels and Macedon, it's just not happening. And that looks like it's the end of... What turn is this? The end of turn 14, so let's get into turn 15. This episode has just been a sea of blunders. It's been terrible. I've just been making very bad play across the board. Okay, nothing seemingly important happened. Oh hey, the people don't hate me quite as much, and neither do the Senate. I should actually look at that screen at some point, and I've dragged everyone else into war with Macedon, go to me. See, the settlement I have to take is still... EU Vavam? I have no idea how to pronounce this. But regardless, I'm not taking it. It is getting fort walled off.
Imperator.
Dropping one fort here.
Sir.
And another fort just in front of it.
Fortify position.
And then moving as far back as I can.
Imperator. Attack.
Putting this place to siege.
Settlement under siege, sir.
And... moving this, it's just going to be a garrison in the city, I guess. I thought I had one more fort I need to make. Oh, I do. It's going to be up here, because I'm going to be sieging off this... not sieging off, forting off this river as well to protect from Dacia. It is a lot of forts, though.
Imperator.
In terms of infrastructure, need to make something in Ariminum, which is just going to be a trader. Sewers in Iridium. Carthage and Thapsus are good. Going to just build a Temple of Jupiter here for happiness, because I'm worried it's going to be real difficult to keep things happy after I start moving out my troops for real. But for the time being, I can keep making troops. Though I think the most important troop to make might actually be a ship to speed up conquering. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a turn to slow down. No, actually, I don't need the ship. I'm just going to make a garrison this turn. I'm going to not worry about traveling by sea. I'm going to do the same thing here, because I fully expect to not be coming back. Now, what does the population look like, or the happiness rather, with all these people gone? Completely fine. Can I crank the taxes? I can. Same question for Corinth, and yes. Get slightly higher taxes out of these places. Okay, Corinth actually cannot get higher taxes because I hadn't checked how their garrisons would look, or their happiness rather, it would look after I changed their garrisons. That is a good problem to have. It's the first time all campaign I've had that problem. I'm just going to leave it as is for now, because Equites are kind of terrible in a siege. I'm going to check that that's the last thing I need to do this turn before I go to that battle, and then I'll end the video with that battle.
Without delay.
And I'm actually just going to queue your command to travel all the way to Armenia over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 turns. That is a thing I'm just going to stop worrying about until it gets its path blocked. I'm going to move this spy down.
Secrecy is assured.
And I can see there's really not a lot going on in Macedon right now. I would like to conquer this stuff before the Brudii, but it's kind of hard to imagine that I end up doing it. However, since I have a lot of armies here that aren't going to be able to travel as far, and these cavalry are among those armies. No, I actually am going to try to do this. I am going to not recruit these peasants, recruit this boat, and try to use this boat to ferry troops along the shore to take these two settlements before the Brudii do, since the Brudii seem to just not be doing a whole lot right now. And all that is left for this turn is the siege of Athens and whatever I do with my army afterwards. So let's get into it. Now, Athens has stone walls. Shouldn't that be on this screen somewhere? Athens does have stone walls, right? I'm not crazy? Yeah. Generally speaking, stone walls make it very hard to win a fight with minimal casualties. But his army is genuinely terrible. I'm gonna see how auto-resolve does. I'm feeling spicy. Yeah, okay, I lost 54 men. That is, to my memory, how auto-resolving with overwhelming numerical advantage versus stone walls looks. I realistically couldn't do much better than that. And I feel bad exterminating everything down here, but I don't think I have much choice not to, due to happiness issues. Okay, so I can see these Stadi and this Principe have very little movement, whereas the rest of this can start moving north to Thessalonica. Take a little bit more than 2 turns to get there. These Peltas are largely useless. Who is my second best general here? I've got 1 command, 0 command, 1 command. Is there any difference in the ability of these people in a fight? No. Okay, so I'm going to leave behind this one. He has more experience. And all of my units with either bad stats or low movement left. Oh right, I'm not going to Thessalonica. There's a city right here I've just never seen before. I'm going to repair everything I damaged and start building a public order shrine. And see if I can repair stuff, or recruit stuff rather. And theoretically I could, but you know, I've already sent them away, like an idiot. I will be hiring these Thracian mercenaries to make sure no one else can get them. And I will be recruiting a unit of Astadi here. Oh, this is a rebel settlement. I just assumed Greece would have this. Alright, that's the turn though. Already done. Oh, the Bruni finally sieged something. Look at them go. Alright, Macedon's finally, like, consolidating some sort of army and building a stack, but they're moving north instead of south to do it. Does look like we have a massive field battle with Macedon on our horizon, though. Luckily for me, field battles are what Rome excels at and what Macedon is relatively weak at. I now border Germany, so that's not great news. But my plan is to completely conquer the Balkans before I have to worry about Germany or Gaul or Numidia. And then once I have that sort of money fueling my economy, I don't need to worry about building 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th armies. I can afford it. So I'll be able to wage wars on every single front of my empire at once by the time I've finished conquering the Balkans. Ah, Numidia, you bitch. Well, I was just saying that by the time I conquer the Balkans, it looks like it's happening a little bit earlier. Let's begin recruiting the Principes. Oh, this army's so terrible, actually. Wait. Can I get mercenaries? Okay. So, I'm not going to do it this video, but I can recruit mercenaries with him and go down to fight Numidia. And I have a war to wage in Macedon, and I'm beginning to finally get this Doomstack out of my land and making progress somewhere. Settlement besieged, I'm fully aware. Thrace and Daisy are at war, Numidia downed me, and Macedon and Greek finally decided, you know, maybe we have a mutual enemy and a thing we need to deal with. And I am now the strongest faction as well. I think at the start of the next video, I'll finally take us time to stop, breathe, and look at some graphs. But for now, this is me stopping at the end of turn, what is it, 15? Stopping at the beginning of turn 16, and I will see you guys next time. This has been Rather Incoherent. I hope you liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube algorithm jazz. I'll see you around.